She comes home and tells me before she leaves that while she loves me with all her heart, and I'm the only one she wants to be with forever and marry, that while she's in college, she does not want to be tied down and needs to be able to have her fun. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Me, a 23-year-old male, with my ex, a 23-year-old female. We were high school sweethearts. She left me to have fun in college. Now is out of school, back home, and pissed. And has everyone else pissed at me because I won't take her back. And guys, this story is about a guy. He's 23, like he says in the title. And he and his girlfriend, they were high school sweethearts. They both go off to school. And halfway through the freshman semester, she comes back and informs him that even though she loves him so much, that she needs to be free to go literally hook up with other dudes. Like, she doesn't hide it from him. Okay? And as you can understand, he was obviously heartbroken, kind of acted a little bit too much of a you-know-what, but he was young, didn't know. And that was that. And even she was even so nice a couple weeks later to call him and see how he's doing, and mentioned that already she hooked up with a couple different guys and was gaslighting him, making him out to be the bad guy because he was being immature for not, being cool with this. So eventually he's done with her, and 3 years later, guess who's back? Guess who's back after college looking for that same guy, the safety net that she can settle down with now that she's ridden the carousel with Chad and Tyrone for 3 years straight. Probably so much I'm surprised she can walk. But this guy, not having it. And as you can imagine, she's again making him out to be the bad guy, and she's having a complete meltdown. And I find it hilarious nowadays in these stories, and it's common nowadays, these gals think they can do what they want to do, break these guys' hearts, and come back and think these guys are going to take them back. Right? I mean, it's just like, are you out of your damn mind? And also the gaslighting involved, making the guy out to be the bad guy, immature, even though she's the one that's acting like a selfish child. But anyhow, here, guys, this is a good payback story for a gal who's a complete a-hole to a good guy. So it starts off, he says, sorry that the title was super wordy, but it kind of explains most of the problem here. We've been together since we were juniors in high school. We were both each other's first everything, and I thought that we were going to be together forever. She went away to college, and midway through her freshman year, she comes home and tells me before she leaves that while she loves me with all her heart, and I'm the only one she wants to be with forever and marry, that while she's in college, she does not want to feel tied down and needs to be able to have her fun. Loves him so much, wants to be with him forever, wants to marry him, but he's not that guy that she can have fun with. She was telling me this as though she was explaining the directions to hooking up a computer. In other words, no emotion. That's because she had no emotion. It was just simply statements of facts, and my thoughts and feelings in the situation did not matter. She even went on to tell me that she wanted to make sure I knew everything, knew that she'd be always practice safe you-know-what for our future together. Oh, well, that's very considerate of her. Yes, I'm going to be hooking up with dudes left and right for the rest of college, but just so you know, I'll make sure I have safe you-know-what, just to make sure, so that way I'm good and clean for you down the road when I'm ready to marry you, when you're good enough for me. Yeah, sure. So nice. Well, my reaction, I guess, was not what she planned. Needless to say, I'm not very proud of how I reacted at the time, but I became very emotional with her. I begged her not to do this. Smack. No man should beg anyone, let alone a woman. Now, he was young and emotional and blindsided, but he knows now. No man should beg. It's only going to make him look weaker in her eyes. I begged her not to do this, and that under no circumstance would I ever consider this okay. Good for you. She basically said I was being immature, and that once a couple of weeks passed, I'd be able to talk to her rationally, making him out to be the bad guy. We've been together for a couple of years, and I thought we had a good thing going, and you blindsided me saying you're going to go hook up with other dudes, but don't worry, I'll practice safe you-know-what, and when I'm ready to finally settle down, then you can be my boyfriend again. Yeah, and he's the bad guy for reacting like a human being. And as a bonus, she wanted to get my assurance that I, too, would practice safe you-know-what as well when we get back together. I was like, lady, it is not your business. We're done. The 2 weeks went by, and she called me and acted like no big deal. But as we started to end the call, she wanted to make sure that I was better about her sleeping with other guys. I used the present tense because she then informed me in that in 2 weeks she had already slept with 2 other guys. At least, I might add. Oh, that's real loving. Oh, by the way, how are you? I slept with 2 other guys so far. Does this strike you as someone that's very caring or have any empathy towards this guy? None. So why the hell would any guy want to be with someone like this and wait around for her? I used the... he said that part. Again, I'm not proud of this, but I broke down when she told me this. She said she did not want to hurt me. Bullshit. So she wouldn't be telling me any more about what she does. Oh, well, thank you. I told her I had no desire to talk with her anymore, period. That I was willing to work on things before she slept with 2 other people, but that was the end of it for me. And I told her I was done. Good for you, dude. You made up somewhat from your begging from 2 weeks earlier. She said once again that I was being immature and that she would just wait on me to contact her when I was grown up enough to understand that there was no difference between sex and love. Yeah, well, you can be sitting there waiting forever, honey, because I'm not calling you. She's actually saying, when you grow up and act more mature, then you can contact me. Who the hell does she think she is? But clearly this guy probably put her on a pedestal, worshipped the ground she walked on. She's obviously above average looks and thinks that she's the queen. And by the way, when she brought up this whole idea of breaking up so she can ride the carousel, I guarantee you, she had easily multiple dudes just waiting in line to hook up with her. Guaranteed. That was the last time I spoke to her until about 1 month ago, when she moved back home and showed me up at my house one night acting like we'd been together and not apart for 3 years. She had not expected nor appreciated my reaction to her showing up. 3 years later, he hasn't talked to her and she just shows up one day. She's probably like, surprise, I'm here, you want to get married? I opened the door and there she was with a big smile on her face. She immediately asked to come in and I said I would come outside, which obviously caught her off guard. I asked what she wanted and she said, and I quote, well, that's a hell of a way to greet someone you love. Greet someone you love after 3 years we haven't talked? Again, he's the bad guy. Who on God's green earth want to get together with someone like this that has no empathy, no emotion, and constant gaslighting? Only weak guys. I'm guessing that her perception of this guy, and fairly accurately, is that in the past he was a weak guy and she could pretty much have her way with. But this guy manned up real quick and he's a different guy now. And don't worry, guys, she's going to get justice is going to be served real quick. To which I told her that she was delusional and that whatever love I had for her died the day she told me she had already started having you-know-what with other men. She honestly had a very confused look on her face and then said, and I quote again, are you still uptight about all that? I think I'm going to say what we're all thinking here. What a bitch. And then said, I would have thought by now you would have grown up about that. Grown up? So, okay, let's say the situation was reversed. And 3 years early, he went to her saying, you know what? I want to break up so that way I can ride the carousel. Well, for him, it's riding the clam carousel, I guess. But don't worry, later on down the road when I'm ready to settle, then I'll marry you. But I'll practice safe sex while I'm banging chicks left and right. And then how would she feel about that, right? And do you think if she reacted in a human way, and you think she would think that that was being immature or whatever she described this? Get the hell out of here. I told her that not only was I not over it, that I would never be over it other than to be over with us. At which time she proceeds to say to me, you mean to tell me you're throwing away everything that we are together because of some stupid physical issue? Stupid physical issue. Again, situation was reversed. How would she react? I know we love each other and are meant to be together, so how do we fix this? You had your chance, honey. You're toast. Now get the fuck off my lawn. I was just dumbstruck. How in the F can one person be this stupid? I asked her what I was throwing away. We have not spoken in almost 3 years other than via text, and even then it was her texting me and me not replying. So she was reaching out and this guy would ignore her. Guys, what's going on here is this. Her perception of this guy is he's the same guy back in the day. And she thinks obviously he has such limited options, and obviously back in the day he probably put her on the pedestal, worshipped the ground she walked on, kissed her ass, and she thought she could easily just mosey on into town and pick up where they left off, and he'd be so grateful to have her back. like she's a fucking queen or something like that. And he's like, not happening. I got better options. I got respect. Not happening. And she doesn't know what to do. She left very disappointed. And that should have been the end of it. But here's the kick in the ass. I've now been inundated by friends, her family, and hell, even some of my family, wanting to know why I was throwing away someone so special. Man, she has them fooled. If they really knew the truth, at least this guy's family, then it would be different. I ended up telling my family members the truth, and after they heard about it, they quickly recanted and told me to tell her to F off. But to her family, I just said that she dumped me years ago, and we haven't been together in almost 3 years. This came as a shock to them, as she'd been telling them all along that we were still a couple, even when she was home on breaks, and would tell them we were planning on marrying. At first, they didn't believe me that we hadn't seen each other in years, and I'm not sure if they still do. How can her family not know that you're still together after 3 years? I mean, come on, they would at least see you once or twice a year, like at Christmas or something like that. But in 3 years? But there you go. They don't know what their daughter's like. This guy didn't know. This guy's family didn't know. Thank God his family's on his side. But the friends are the ones that really piss me off the most. They know the truth and yet think I'm being weird about all this. Well, the so-called friends are in this guy's age group, and they're a part of this empowerment movement nowadays when gals should go out and sleep with every guy left and right, and God forbid her boyfriend question that. They said that when you're young, you're supposed to play the field, but if you love someone, you know, then in the end you'll be able to be together. Well, she didn't love him, and this guy sure as hell doesn't love her anymore. I don't have enough time to write all the words I said to them, but I can assure you it was laced with lots of curse words. I'm now down a few friends, but in my opinion, they weren't friends really anyway. They're not friends. Absolutely not. And you know what? It's better to have just a handful of friends than 50 friends that you can't trust and bullshit like this happens. Here's why I'm here. I feel good and confident about my decision. However, because I had so many people question me, I'm here to ask anonymous strangers this. Am I wrong? No. Should I just accepted that she was going to play around, and now that she's older, she wants to settle down and start a family? Am I so out of touch that I don't want to be with a person who I'd want to do that and spend the rest of my life with them? No. You reacted exactly as you should have. But she doesn't expect it. And she's just gaslighting you, as well as the so-called friends or ex-friends of yours. Don't buy that bullshit for a second. Also, just for info here, there is nobody else. It's not like I'm saying no because there's another girl, which she is accusing me of, and to our friends, by the way. Let's say there was another girl. It's none of her damn business. She's an ex-girlfriend. Ex as in 3 years ago, and she ruined the relationship. You could have had multiple girlfriends by then, and he probably did, and it's none of her damn business. She ruined it. Now, as a small update, he says, wow. I posted this and then went out for an evening not knowing if anyone would actually respond. I got up this morning, and this thing had blown up. There are lots of great comments, and I want to thank almost everyone for making me feel like I'm not crazy. There were some legitimate questions that were asked as well, and I think I'll answer them here instead of trying to chase down every post. One of the questions was, why did I not slam the door in her face? That really is a legitimate question, one of which I do not have a good answer to. All I can say is I was caught completely off guard. I had not seen her in years, and I had no idea she was even back home. So I opened the door not knowing who was there, and when I saw her face, I froze. I thank God I have a screen door as well, because I have a feeling there had not been a barrier between us, she would have tried to hug me. I wouldn't want to get anywhere near her, given all the carousel riding she was done. You need to wear a freaking hazmat suit, or what Doc and Marty McFly wore in Back to the Future, the radiation suit, to get away from all the dick that was radiating from her. Question 2. How the hell did she make her family think that we were still together for 3 years, even though we were never together? That's what I wanted to know. I never went to their house, and there are no Facebook photos of us during that time. Well, the answer is this is simple. I have no idea. From what I can tell, she had them convinced, because I guess she also had herself convinced. They were both agreed to an open relationship during college, but would be back together permanently when she got home. Personally, I think the entire thing is effing stupid, because let's pretend for 1 minute that I would actually agree to this BS, never would in a million years, then why the hell would we avoid each other for 3 years whenever she was home on break? Exactly, that's the part that is screwed up. So to be blunt, either they're dumber than I thought thought, or she has manipulated them to the point not even questioning simple issues. Probably option 2. Now, the one thing I guess I did not mention in my original post is that her cousin, who is actually sane and has been level-headed about all this, did tell me that she had a complete and total meltdown after I booted her off the porch. She said she cried for 3 straight days. I just don't get it. How in the name of God could she be this upset? I mean, she hasn't even seen or spoken to me in 3 years. How could she even care? I mean, how do you even care about someone after 3 effing years? Well, I'll tell this dude exactly what this situation is. This guy was her safety net. He was her backup plan. Okay? In her mind, oh, he's the same old guy. He worshipped the ground I walked on, kissed my butt. He'll be more than happy to take me back. I may have to BS him a little bit and stroke his ego or guilt trip, gaslight him a little bit, but I can get him back. And after all her carousel riding, and she's seen enough sausage that pretty much she can probably barely walk, now she's figuring, I'll get this guy back. And guess what? Her plan was foiled because this guy's like, get the hell out of here, off my lawn. He's like Clint Eastwood in that, whatever that movie was. El Torito, like, get off my lawn. That's what this guy was like. And she's having a meltdown because her options, she has to start from square one and find herself a nice guy now. That's what was going on. So good for this guy, and I think it's hilarious she was having a meltdown. Good for her. But guys, this shows you an example of today's world. And none of you guys should ever put up with this kind of crap if your girlfriend lays this out. She pulls this kind of shit, you're done. She's out of there. Done. End of story. And so he redeemed himself for his begging and crying and all that shit. So anyway, guys, that'll be a good one to go over here. Definitely entertaining. And it's good to see a guy lay down the law, but also an example to show you how things are in these times, you know. And also I want to point out that long-distance relationships don't work. The best thing they could have done is after the summer, after high school, they broke up. He did his thing, she did hers. Maybe they talked and get together, who knows. But instead, they stayed together, and she said flat out, you know, I want to go F other guys. Right there. And then 2 weeks later tells him, oh yeah, I hooked up with 2 other guys. Which, according to that rule about whatever a girl says she slept with multiplied times 3, it was probably 6 dudes. Probably. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Also, guys, you come across a good story you'd like to share on this channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me time and I'll get to it. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.